Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to It Came From Beyond the Video Store Shelves. We're back this week with a whole new movie to check out that I just finished watching last night, and that is a action horror movie from 1988 called Headhunter. This particular tape is an Academy Entertainment release. I like Academy releases. They put out some cool shit on VHS. A lot of it is kind of out there B stuff, but they do some really cool movies. And basically, what Headhunters is about is you have two detectives in Miami, Florida, Pete and Catherine, and they kind of stumble upon this case, this murder case, and it seems as it unravels to kind of be a little bit more than they expected. So this is based around the voodoo religion, and the movie starts off in Africa, in Haiti, and they're following this tribe that's doing this ritual, and this ritual summons a beast that ends up attacking this tribe, and that's before the movie picks up in Miami, Florida. So they kind of show that at the beginning. They got all kind of, topless natives running around and stuff, and then, shaking shit and dancing and everything. And this wind shows up, and then people start running for their lives. They don't show the creature. In fact, this movie doesn't really show the headhunter until almost the end of the film, which kind of sucks, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But anyway, they show this ritual at the beginning, and then we fast forward into 1980s in Miami, Florida, and we come across these two detectives. So on this particular day in Miami, they're having this cultural parade. So they're doing this parade downtown, and in the meantime, you have this voodoo practicing man who is in his home, and he's doing a ritual, an animal sacrifice with a chicken. And as he's doing this sacrifice, he ends up summoning this same beast that was attacking all of these, villagers in Africa. And now this beast has been summoned to Miami, and it ends up attacking this man and decapitating his head. So, of course, somebody finds the body, and they call these two detectives to come, investigate, to check out this case. So you have Pete, and you have, his partner, Catherine. And there's kind of a little weird backstory going on with Pete that kind of plays into this as well. Is Pete's wife is eating pussy behind his back, and she ends up leaving him for another woman and kicks him out their house. So he moves in with Catherine, who is dating another man who is a police officer as well. But he moves in with Catherine, and he's sleeping on her couch, and they're partners. So they work together and all that kind of stuff, which is weird. It's kind of a weird thing to put in a movie like this, but it does play back in later. So yeah, Pete and Kat go, and they go to this thing, and they're investigating and all this shit, and they think that it's just a murder. It's just something went wrong and somebody got killed, and whatever, normal day-to-day operations. But by the time the second body pops up decapitated, and they start to realize that it's only these these Haitian people that immigrated to Miami. They're the only ones that are getting murdered in this fashion. They're being decapitated, and their heads are missing. Something is taking the heads, and that's when the shit starts to get a little weird. And they start to, hear that maybe there's some other shit going on. So, at, the scene of this second murder victim, they run across this local college professor who was also acting as like a spiritual advisor slash kind of like a medicine man type thing to all of these Haitian immigrants. And he explains to these officers that this isn't a person that's killing all these people. This is, this demon, or, this entity from our religion. It's a headhunter. And basically, this is a shape shifting entity that, basically wants to be a god. He wants to be feared, and he wants to be worshipped. And the people of this religion supposed to worship and praise and believe in him and follow his rule. And if you go against that, you are decapitated. This creature will decapitate you. You know, because he just doesn't fucking like you. So if you go against the religion, they send this creature after you. He cuts your fucking head off. And of course, the detectives don't believe this. They think it's a crock of bullshit. What they think's going on is that this professor and his people know who's doing these murders and shit, and it's something that's religion or culturally a problem for them, something that's based on religion or culture, and that they have this guy going around that's killing people that don't quite fit their beliefs and stuff, but they don't want to tell the police officers who it is, and that's why they're making up this bullshit story of this headhunter, which of course they end up realizing is not the case at all, because along the way, Pete and Catherine, as they continue to kind of question people and bodies are popping up, they end up becoming a target themselves. They pissed this thing off. So now not only is this thing starting to, this thing's targeting all of these immigrants, but now it's going after the detectives as well. And so that's pretty much basically what goes on throughout this entire movie. By the cover art, which I really dig, I like the cover on this. It really appears to be heavy on the horror side of things, and it's not. This is more of, an action suspense type film, little horror element, especially towards the end. The end was pretty cool in this, and we'll get to that. But yeah, this movie's really kind of suspense thriller type vibe to it, man. It's super slow. A lot of the police shit. I mean, 75% of the movie is the investigation and this drama with Pete and his wife eating coochies and all this shit. There's a bunch of stuff like that in this. So it's really slow, man. And it doesn't show the headhunter what he looks like until basically the end of the movie, which I thought was kind of shitty. When the couple times they do show him before like the big finale, he's dressed in like this fucking baggy black ninja fucking MC Hammer style parachute pantsuit with this fucking just this sword, It's just this shadowy figure. They don't really show his face or anything until the end, which I thought was a misstep, because when they do finally show this thing, it looks pretty fucking cool. I mean, it's obviously the thing's latex, It's it doesn't look super cheap, but it doesn't look real either. Like you could tell it's a suit. They're not fooling anybody. You know, it's not like some of these movies where they pull off these creatures that look really believable. You know, it wasn't like a pumpkin head or something where it's done so good and the makeup effects on the costume and shit's so nice that you could kind of fool yourself into thinking, you know, hey, it's not a big fucking chunk of latex. This thing does look like a big chunk of latex, but it was cool looking at the same time. It kind of had like some Rawhead Rex vibes to it, and you know, in the face and shit. I thought it was really cool looking when the shit actually hit the fan at the end. And in fact, kind of the you know, the fucking end of this film, like the climax, where all the shit hit the fan, was a lot better than the rest of the movie, I thought. Like, they did some cool stuff in there. Like, they covered a couple times that the headhunter was a shapeshifter, that he could disguise himself, that he was like a chameleon. He could take different forms and shit, which they never really showed until the end. And, at one point, this thing ends up mimicking Catherine's boyfriend as well as Pete's ex-wife. And I thought that was kind of a cool touch. This thing, you know, it takes on the form as Pete's ex-wife, and Pete gets a call. He's in a ballroom, and he gets a call from his ex-wife saying, hey, you know, there's been a lot of shit going on. I've been thinking about some stuff. I'd like you to come down to the house and talk to me. So Pete goes down to meet his ex, and she starts talking to him and shit. And she's like, hey, you know, I kind of want to get back together and stuff. And they end up fucking making out. And then Pete's like, you know, okay, we'll talk some more about this, but let me go to the bathroom. And when he goes to the bathroom, he discovers the body of his wife in pieces. It's been mutilated. And then, you know, he goes in another room, and there's the body of, you know, his wife's girlfriend fucking cut to pieces. So the whole time, this fucking thing that Pete was making out with is really this fucking voodoo headhunter. And I thought that was really cool. And they kind of go at it, and then, you know, they end up going back to Catherine's house, and that's when everything kind of comes to a wrap and shit. I thought the end was done pretty well, honestly. And I thought the creature looked pretty fucking good. It's definitely not the worst creature costume I've seen in a horror flick. I just think it's a damn shame that they didn't show it more. You know, if I was making a horror movie and I pulled off a costume that, you know, looked pretty fucking good, I would make it my point to give that shit like the most screen time I possibly could without, you know, muddying up the movie. I definitely would have fucking showed it more. Yeah, especially, I think what Headhunter really needed was some stuff to break up the monotony in the beginning portions of this film. Because like I said, like 75% of this is cop flick, you know? Which is cool. Like, if you like cop movies, you know, if you're into shit like fucking Lethal Weapon and all that kind of crap, you would really enjoy this, because that's basically what it is. It's like fucking Miami Vice with a voodoo zombie, you know? Which is cool, man. It wasn't horrible. Just a little slow, man. They just didn't get going until the last, you know, 10, 15 minutes of this movie, where it got really good. In fact, about halfway through Headhunter, I was kind of like, oh, man. You know, the cover of this fucked me over big time. Because this cover is fucking, it's saying zombie mutant fucking with a samurai sword. You know, that's what this shit's saying. But really, that's only in the last couple minutes, which I kind of thought was shitty. But honestly, it wasn't a bad flick, man. I would give this, I would say, I'd say let's go 4.5. Let's go 4.5 with this. Not quite a 5, but not a 4 either. It was pretty good. It was definitely watchable. If it's something that you haven't seen before, I would suggest checking it out, even if you only check it out one time. Just to kind of get to see the end and this creature and stuff. And they pull off some decent things in here. It was done pretty well. Most of the acting was pretty good. A bunch of the effects was, on the decent side. It wasn't a bad flick. And that's kind of, the theme with a lot of these Academy Entertainment releases is, they didn't release a whole bunch of A-title movies. It was mostly B shit. But most of it was like well done B titles. And that's kind of what Headhunter is. It was a well done movie. It was just lacking. It wasn't where it needed to be. They needed a little more monster, a little less drama and action. This could have been, almost a different cover. Stick it in the action section, and nobody would really know the difference. It was decent, but honestly, Dead Heat did, Cop versus Monster way better than Headhunter. This is kind of like a cheap Dead Heat, in my opinion. But it was decent, man. So yeah, if this isn't something you haven't seen yet, if you run across it, I do recommend checking it out one time, especially if you could find it on the cheap. I don't have no idea what these things are going on VHS. I would guess around the $10 mark. I don't think it's an expensive tape. Probably $8 to $10 if you wanted the VHS copy like I have here. It is a super fucking nice tape, man. It looks good on the shelf. I really dig the cover art on it. I don't know if this came out on Blu-ray or if it's streaming anywhere. You'd have to check it out. I didn't look beforehand. I'm pretty sure it's probably streaming somewhere. Most of this shit you could find on Tubi or YouTube. So yeah, man, if you want, dig it up, check it out. It's worth a watch. At least for a couple hours of entertainment, And until next time, man, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. You take it easy, and I'll see you guys next week with another movie, man. Later.